Take a moment to Google Operation Paperclip. More than 1,600 Nazi scientists were brought to the United States after World War II, where they worked for the U.S. government during the Cold War in order to avoid trial. After helping one enemy get an edge over another, they went on to form pharmaceutical companies, creating drugs to poison the minds of the people they'd once tried to conquer by force. During the war, they had experimented with psychotropic drugs in concentration camps that the Third Reich had hoped to use for mind control. Now they're calling it cosmetic psychopharmacology, the reordering of society through drugs. Personality traits can be eradicated, altered, or enhanced, but primarily their purpose is to make the user complacent, compliant, and open to suggestion. These pills work on the limbic system and frontal lobes of the brain, extinguishing normal emotions, including empathy, and causing memory loss. With all the movies and shows about serial killers, all of the constant suggestions that violence is an option, it was just a matter of time for me. It is well known among those who control the masses that if something's going to catch on, it has to have what's called a low ability threshold. It must be something that any monkey can do easily, like hula hoops and Tamagotchis. When the opportunity to be part of something new and trendy is easy as pie, everybody will hop on the bandwagon. Think the Macarena or abstract art. If you tell the world that going to the trouble of learning how to dance well or painting something realistic is passé, everybody who wants to dance or be called an artist while putting forth minimal effort will jump at the chance. So now the cool thing is to be a serial killer. If you're a failure of an individual, you can get revenge on the world for rejecting you and be part of an exclusive clique by giving in to the voice inside your head, a voice the meds put there. There are subcultures on the internet grooming kids that take SSRIs to become mass murderers. At least one of these kids has come out and admitted it on trial, that he was in competition with other players to see how many people he could kill. Take a moment to Google Columbiners and the Incel Rebellion. These subcultures are not discouraged because it's in the interests of a corrupt government to disarm its citizens. It's no secret that widely broadcast events tend to set precedents and inspire copycats. Not many people knew, for example, about the many people who died in Arkansas, Washington, Alaska, and Mississippi before the Columbine shootings, but afterwards all the world knew. Then an epidemic of copycats, more and more kids following suit because the news kept showing it. Next thing you know, if it hadn't happened in a whole year, they'd show the last one again to keep it fresh in everyone's minds, so that the next pissed-off kid would consider it a solution. Or even Columbine, 15 years later. Keep it alive in the minds of the populace. Keep it ever present so that next ticking time bomb of a man will remember that reenacting that atrocity is always an option. That if it ever seems there's no way out of his predicament, he can always go out with a bang. This news coverage popularized such crimes and in turn called attention to the availability and accessibility of firearms, which helps to tighten the hold on honest citizens and effectively disarm them. So here we are, killing ourselves and each other, and many of us are calling for the government to ban all firearms. And a bunch of Nazis are behind it, the group who'd seized power in their own country after doing what? Taking everybody's guns. Does it sound a little far-fetched? Truth is stranger than fiction. And how can I give you all this information? What makes me an expert on it? Because I was one of the foot soldiers. I'd begun to plan the mass shooting of my bullies in school while on Zoloft. The only thing that stopped me was belief in God and the certainty that I would never get away with it. However, after graduating and going on to college, Zoloft continued to change me into a different person. For example, at the end of high school, I'd heard a clip of natural-born killers on the movie soundtrack in someone's car and was horrified. Another year after taking those mind-bending pills, and it became my favorite movie. I was fascinated by all the killing sprees that were inspired by it. I started reading books about serial killers and listening to 9 Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson. I thought that all my failures in life could be washed away with blood. Remember what I said about becoming what you watch or read or listen to? My friends became petty and nitpicky after watching Seinfeld for a few months. My brother admitted to being a self-important pompous ass from watching too much Frasier. The biggest problem with films like Natural Born Killers and Fight Club and books like Hannibal was that the bad guys won in the end. You'd think we were smart enough to know it was just a story, but look at all the killings that followed. So, when my heroes became villains, especially with my mind made soft and malleable by drugs, it was just a matter of time. If I became a predator, that would be so much better than being a nobody.